The most important thing a man can take into combat is a reason why.
Be in this fight, boys. You mark my words.
19 men attacked our country. The 12 of you will be the first ones to fight back.
It's us. We're going in.
50,000 Al-Qaeda fighters, and you're just an army of 12.
We've just been handed the most important mission in the free world.
Hold on. Our boys are gonna ride into battle on horseback?
The chances are we are not going to make it out of this one. If we quit now, what happened back home is going to happen again and again.
Get out, get out.
Each of you got to make this decision. Fall back!
Nothing I'd rather do.
I'm in. Thought you'd never ask.
Why do you think it's important that this story is told now? I mean, the events happened, obviously they're still very relevant, but they happened back in 2001. Why in 2018 is the time for this story to be told?
Well, I like to celebrate men or women who make a difference in our world.
Perspective, because for me, that was the main thing about, reading the book and reading the script, was developing perspective about what really happened with, the situation. And that's just important, man. Perspective is everything, because whenever you don't know something, you're afraid of it.
We've made movies like Pearl Harbor and Remember the Titans and Black Hawk Down about individuals that have done very heroic things to change this world for a better place. And that's what 12 Strong is. These 12 guys went into Afghanistan. There were bounties on their head of $100,000. They met up with a warlord that they knew very little about. And they were outnumbered 10 to 1. And yet they went in fighting on horses against tanks. And most of them didn't know how to ride a horse. Only one of them had experience riding on horseback. So the fact they accomplished their mission, the fact that they came back alive, they left their families. The families had no idea where they were, what they were doing, and even if they would come back. And so it's great to tell stories about these young men who make enormous sacrifices for our country and a better way of life for everybody in the world, not just Americans.
There ain't no easy way out.
If you die, that's a letter you and your wife are going to wish you wrote. I made her a promise. I'm coming home.
What was it like prepping for this film? Obviously, you guys both have some kind of experience with training, with superhero films, with police-centered films. I know you guys had your 2-week Ranger training camp.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry.
Not all at once, you guys.
You've been leading it off. I'm like,
I'm giving you an opportunity to wreck the interview.
Fill my mind up for 30 seconds.
Yeah, and the interview's over. Thanks, Michael.
No. I mean, the movie that I did before this was I think it was Ant-Man or one. So there's not much. I'm not doing.
It's not
like
the exact same thing.
I'm not doing
sure?
2 weeks of training with military, but no, we did around 3 weeks, and it was it was kind of an all-encompassing thing where we'd go in and work on the script, and then at least rehearse or whatnot, and then military training with the weapons, and then the horses. Me and Scratchy, trying to get along. That's the perfect name. He's like this guy. He reminds me of this guy. 'Cause no matter how much I would hit him, he would
wasn't going anywhere.
He said he reminds me of me, and then said
no
matter how
as much I hit
him.
I'm seeing the dynamic. No, I got it.
I beat him into submission.
Chris didn't go anywhere either. God.
Just gonna beat down his personality. He's so done it easy then.
I didn't finish my thought, but I would be on him, and in my mind he would just be like, "Oh, dude," I'm like, "Come on, go."
That's a good thing when they get bombs and explosions going off around you. It's rather than having a spooked horse. Some of them were kind of
that's true.
Pretty lively and energetic, and any little sound.
I don't know how you wouldn't be even in the theater. I'm like, it's on the screen and I'm still jumping.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine being there.
Yeah, Kenny Sheard, he had one.
His horse was like that. Yeah, those horses threw people off.
All right, who's ridden before? Anyone?
Summer camp when I was 9.
Spring break, but I was pretty hammered.
Does it have a name? The name.
Great, this will be fun.
Do you guys have writing experience? I know your character doesn't have writing experience.
A very, very little bit. I did a movie and I think I wrote 3 times. This guy did the Horseman?
I've done a
Huntsman.
The Huntsman. Yeah, I had a horse on that film. I've ridden horses mainly for films though, and a little bit outside of filmmaking. But I had to do a bit more rehearsing because my character had a lot of experience.
A lot of scenes.
He was the only one who had ridden before. But even in his real life, he'd grown up on a ranch and so on. So But it sort of fit for a lot of the actors, you know, to not be able to ride because these soldiers, you know, these men hadn't ridden before either, and so any sort of uncertainty and so on it fit there. I guess the reality of the situation.
I think when you join the army now, the last thing you're expected to do is like, can you
Just
ride a
ride a
horse?
horse,
It's just like, I'm
yeah.
sorry, what?
No,
That's
it
what the
was-
special armed forces people were. I mean, they're able to adapt.
Yeah.
They're, you know.
One thing that I thought was really interesting was the fact that you really brought in the family aspect, and you guys both have families. You literally had your wife to act across from. How much of that did you connect to as like having to travel a lot for your jobs, and then also putting your mind space in with these men, but also knowing that when these men went, there was a high likelihood that they weren't coming home. How did it feel like playing that on?
Well, I
screen?
mean, I think the percentages of us getting home are much higher than anybody in the military.
Usually, on a good day.
Yeah.
We have a
Just
much
come home
safer
safe from
job.
that photo shoot.
Yeah. No, it's more like you better come home at 9 o'clock, Chris. It certainly I think is you know, for a lot of these guys, the driving force for them to complete this mission safely is to get home and see their family again, and also, you know, for the protection of their family and so on. So there was a lot of things to sort of draw from in that instance, and you know, talking to military families and people in these situations, you see this sort of unwavering commitment to their job and what they're going to do, but also the weight of that because of the families. And, you know, it's just as difficult for the wife and kids to be home alone, not knowing, you know, when the phone's going to ring or when they're going to come to the door. So.
I have 2 hours. I'll be really quick.
Not a chance. Holding out is the only way I can guarantee you come back to me.
Well, it's going to be only a week.
I don't care how long you're gone, as long as you come back.
Really? Really?
Did you stop at Starbucks?
Oh, so
Where's my latte?
Milo, it's 8:30. What happened?
Well, you guys don't know? I had the opportunity to meet quite a few guys who were like really honest and open about their experiences wherever they were stationed, you know what I mean? And that was super valuable for so many reasons. And that, along with obviously just, we had the 2-week Ranger training prior to shooting.
How did that go?
That was interesting.
Compared to
man.
your athlete training before, like.
Honestly, compared to that, it was pretty much the same.
Really?
I mean, the exertion and the focus and everything is the same. You know, in a lot of ways, being an actor or an athlete is the same as being an actor to me. So that's valuable. But yeah, I mean, that 2-week training, man, it was cool. It was intense, and it was very particular to, obviously, it was Ranger training, so it was like particular to being a soldier. So it was cool.
Did you get to talk to your character?
Not mine. No,
yours?
not mine. Bob and Mark, the 2 guys who Chris and Michael Shannon played in the film, they were on set, so that was cool.
What was the craziest story that they shared with you guys about their experience that like stuck with you and you were like, oh my gosh, like these people have seen things?
They've seen. Well, I mean, not from Bob and Mark. They were, for whatever reason, they have like this kind of coach and like really reserved but very just open demeanor. The stories that I got from the other guys, I won't speak on, but like that were open and honest, those were some intense stories. The stories that, you know, Bob and Mark spoke of mainly were about the camaraderie and about the kinship and like the love between the guys as they were over there doing this for us, you know.
Take out biggest guns first.
I am your biggest gun, Cap.
Do you feel like you recreated that feeling of camaraderie? Did you
hope
feel
so.
that like on the set when you guys were joking around? How did it feel going into those battle scenes? Like with everything, all the craziness going on around you?
It was intense, man, because it was like, again, obviously we're simulating these moments, but it just felt like you were in there with your brothers, like I assumed that it would be, and like I assumed that, you know, everybody that I had the opportunity to talk to felt, you know, so it was cool to like at least feel like I was feeling what Ben Milo would feel.
Like part of something bigger than yourself?
Absolutely. I mean, that's always the goal, though, whenever you do a film, you know, at least I try to put myself in a position that's a part of something bigger.
Well, I won't back down.
There's no playbook here. We're gonna have to write it ourselves.
No, I won't back down.
I ain't losing one man on this team.
You could stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down.
You have worked with a lot of stories that are based on true stories and on true events. As a producer, how do you find that line between the entertaining and the honesty?
Well, it's difficult, and especially in this movie. I mean, it's a big movie. You want to see it in the theater. The fact that We have live explosions. The fact that these guys are actually riding on horses and they're actually doing what you see on screen is very exciting. But the hardest thing to do is to accomplish a true story yet make it entertaining.
Right.
And when we showed it to the men who were actually on the mission and the Special Forces guys, they're very supportive of the movie. They think we captured the essence of that operation, and they're very pleased that we made the movie, which gives us, kind of a good feeling when you get it right. And that's the scariest thing when you make a movie like this. Do you disappoint the people that actually had to go through this experience?
What is something that you would like people to walk away after watching this movie in theaters? Like, what is the feeling or the impression that you're hoping 12 Strong leaves with the public?
Well, I think, first of all, it's entertainment.
Right.
You want to see it on a big screen. It's funny, it's heroic, it's scary. It's got all the things that big movies have. It's going to be on
beating from it, honestly.
It's on IMAX. It's something that is, I think, a time in history that the world should know about. And these men should be remembered. And thanks to Doug Stanton's book and this movie, they'll be remembered.
The only way home is winning.
This is from the towers. You carry that with you.